Good day and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Review. So today we're going to talk a little bit about 5 authors that I have absolutely loved and effectively have become instant buys for me. So if you're interested, stay tuned. That is coming right up. All right, so 5 authors that are basically insta-buys for me when it comes to books. Now, some of these authors, unfortunately, are no longer with us and are not putting out any new books. So I'll just start with the authors that have sadly passed on, but it is their works and their books that really hooked me and got me interested in reading, both in terms of the more science fiction type genre as well as the more fantasy type genre. So first up, we've got Terry Goodkind. He is the writer of the Sword of Truth series. Now, he effectively was an instant buy for me with his books, especially in his Sword of Truth world. Now, unfortunately, some of the books that he wrote outside of the Sword of Truth world were just terrible. I really didn't like them at all, and they were not all that great, but his Sword of Truth books were fantastic. I absolutely loved the Sword of Truth world. I'm probably going to go back and reread it at some point. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to rereading the Sword of Truth, but you can bet that I will be rereading the Sword of Truth, because this is definitely something that I want to reread eventually. Terry Goodkind just really got me high into that kind of epic, long scale, many book fantasy series of books out there. So he's definitely an author. If you haven't checked out the Sword of Truth, I would absolutely recommend checking out the Sword of Truth books. They are a lot of fun and just very good reads, at least in my opinion. I know some people don't really like them. It's one of those book series that seems to be either you love it or you hate it, but I absolutely did love it myself, and I look forward to doing a reread on the Sword of Truth at one point. So the next author that was basically an instant buy for me was Michael Crichton. Oh, he's written a lot of books. You know, he's written The Andromeda Strain. He wrote Sphere, Jurassic Park, The Terminal Man, Congo, Great Train Robbery, Eaters of the Dead. Like, there are so many books out there that Michael Crichton has written, and he knows how to write a thriller. He knows how to keep you hooked. Short chapters, lots of action, lots of adventure. Prey and Micro are some other books of his that I really super enjoyed. And, you know, I remember the first book I read by Michael Crichton, I believe it was The Andromeda Strain. This is what kind of got me out of reading only one type of book. One of those books that kind of got me out of reading only one type of book. The Andromeda Strain was just captivating. And then next up, I read The Terminal Man. And it just kind of kept snowballing from there. From there, it was on to Sphere and Congo and Prey and Micro and Jurassic Park and all these just phenomenal techno thrillers that I absolutely loved about Michael Crichton's writing. Just so much fun, action-packed from start to finish with Michael Crichton and his books. And there's so many. I think pretty much most of them have been made into a movie. I know Timeline, Jurassic Park, Sphere, Congo, Great Train Robbery. There's a lot. Like, a lot of his books have been adapted into film, and he's just a high quality writer. Now, not all of the film adaptations are superb by any means, but definitely the writing that Michael Crichton has is just awesome. So he was absolutely a must buy for me when I got into reading and started collecting my own books. And, you know, if he was still around, still writing books, you could bet I would still be buying Michael Crichton books. So next up, we have Terry Brooks. He is the writer of the Shannara Chronicles. So Shannara is kind of this epic series of books that spans this kind of post-apocalyptic world. And, you know, I've really enjoyed the whole Shannara Chronicles, and there's something like 20 or 30 books now. Terry Brooks has basically spent his entire career writing Shannara. For the most part, he has become a must-buy for me. He's written some stuff outside of Shannara, such as Magic Kingdom of Landover is another one of his series that is not in the Shannara world. Kind of this new world where it crosses the modern urban fantasy type deal into this fantastical world in another realm or dimension or universe or whatever you want to call it. But overall, Terry Brooks has been a must-buy for me. I haven't perfectly enjoyed every single one of the books he's ever put out, but for the most part, I've really enjoyed his Shannara is kind of what got me into the whole Terry Brooks landscape with respect to his writing. One of the other authors that I have really gotten into that basically have turned into a virtually a must-buy for me would have to be Brian McLellan. So Brian McLellan is the author of the Powder Mage world and books, and I absolutely love that. It's kind of more of a flintlock military fantasy, Napoleonic inspiration behind the whole Powder Mage world, and just the concept behind the Powder Mage is crazy. Like the whole magic system is based off of snorting gunpowder, of all things. But he is definitely turned into a virtual must-buy for me when a book is out, and I do want to eventually read absolutely everything that Brian McLellan has written, because I absolutely love his Powder Mage world. I was hooked from the start, and I just couldn't put it down. And I'm definitely going to be rereading the whole Powder Mage books at one point for sure. And he's probably going to continue to write great stuff. I mean, all the stuff that he's written so far, I've really super duper enjoyed. And I know that I will continue to enjoy his books as they continue to come out. So if you haven't read the Powder Mage, definitely check the Powder Mage out, because Powder Mage world is just amazing. It's fun, high action, intense. I mean, the whole thing starts out with the whole Powder Mage world starts out with the hostile military coup of the government and overthrowing of the government, and the characters, the action, the everything in the Powder Mage world is just crazy. It's awesome, exciting, so good all around. Love the Powder Mage. One author that I would absolutely have to include in my must-buys or insta-buys, essentially, is Brian Greene. I absolutely love everything that he's written about the world of quantum mechanics and particle physics and the fabric of the cosmos, the hidden reality, and a variety of other books that he's written. He is just a phenomenal writer, and he has such a great way of explaining things to help us understand the nature of reality. And I love the way he describes things. I love the way he explains things and uses real world analogies and examples to illustrate the points and purposes in which he's trying to explain to us. And this is just amazing, the way that he does that. And I absolutely love the way that he does that within his books. It is just fun, awesome, entertaining, and just overall it's just a really, really good way to do things. And I love how he writes his books. So, definitely Brian Greene is on my list of must-buy authors or insta-buy authors. So if you haven't checked out his writing, if you want to learn more about space and time and reality, Brian Greene is a great author to go to get a good, better understanding of how our universe works on this quantum scales. Loving it. And of course, saving the best for last. If you have been watching this channel, you probably know what the next must-buy author for me is going to be. If you don't, you probably haven't watched my channel enough, so go back, look at all my videos, go check out one of the authors I'm hyping on all the time, because this is absolutely turned into a must-buy. Now, before I mention this author's name, I just want to say, I don't read graphic novels. I've never been into it. Never really cared for that medium. I don't have any problems with this medium. I don't think the medium's bad by any means. All mediums for telling stories have their great things about them. They're all good in their own respects. And for those that love graphic novels, awesome. I'm glad you enjoy that. And it's just not the kind of thing that I typically find myself reading. But this is one author that, because their name is on these books, they are books that I'm going to buy by default, simply because their name is attached to it. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm talking about Brandon Sanderson. That's right, Brandon Sanderson is a must-buy, and only Brandon Sanderson can get me to buy graphic novels simply by attaching his name to it. No other author could do that. At least they haven't yet. I mean, if Brian McLellan or Terry Goodkind or Terry Brooks or Michael Crichton, if they put their name on a graphic novel, I don't know that I would go buy it. I just can't see that happening. But Brandon Sanderson, your name's on a graphic novel, I'm buying it. No stopping me. Love Brandon Sanderson, and by far he is my all-time favorite author of all time. Love his books. The Cosmere that he has created with Stormlight Archive, and the whole Mistborn stuff going on there as well as other books such as Warbreaker, Atlantis, and just everything about Brandon Sanderson's writing. Love it from start to finish. A bad book by Brandon Sanderson tends to be better than the best books by so many other writers. And there is just everything to love about Brandon Sanderson and his writing. And I love that stuff, everything that he's ever written. I hope to eventually get to. I haven't read his Alcatraz series yet, but you know, hopefully at one point I'm loving his Skyward series that he's got going on as well. And there's just so much to love about Brandon Sanderson's writing. And he is the only author that has gotten me to buy graphic novels and to read them. You just won't find me buying graphic novels with any other name on it, because that, hey, but maybe Brandon Sanderson will do me a favor and get me into more graphic novels under other names. Who knows, right? It's possible. But anyway, those are the 5 authors that have basically been must-buys for me. 5 authors that I've absolutely loved and will continue to buy their books as they release them. So, you know, tell me below, what are 5 authors that you really loved? What are your must-buy authors? I'd love to have that conversation with you. You could comment down below, or you could join me over on the Discord to talk about it as well. I'll have that linked below. And of course, I'll have the link tree below, so you could join me on my other social platforms. I'm primarily active on Instagram. And also, as always, if you want to support this channel, you can do so over on Patreon, where you can join me for early access, picking my next read, things like that. So if you're so inclined, always appreciated. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. And until next time, keep on reading. Bye.